A viral video has caught our attention this past week, and it shows a man berating a woman after he gave her a compliment and didn't like her reaction.
Yo, weird. What's wrong with you? If you don't want anybody to say anything complimenting-wise, don't put it on. Wear a fucking bathrobe. Dumbass bitch. What the you talking about? Respect your place. You guys are women. I put all you guys in my trunk, and everybody will look at your forensic files the next day. Give me a compliment, you can't even take it.
Stay right here.
Everybody on the phone, like, yo, he's my brother, he's my brother, he's my brother. Get the f out of here.
And all you men out here not saying shit and just letting him talk is crazy.
Say hello and say hi.
Why are you yelling?
All I said was nice. All I said was
Stop talking to him right now.
Tell me what the f you do.
Yo,
Why are you
stop talking to him.
Yo, you on some bitch shit, nigga. Out of here. Yo, listen.
Look at you. Look at you. He literally did this to himself. We asked him to walk away so many times. He followed us back up because the line was way back here. And he came back up to continue going at us. And the only reason he redirected his energy is when they came. But it was like walking behind us, getting himself more hype. His ass going on TikTok.
The man caused a scene, yelling while others continued to walk by. The man would go on to say that if she didn't want attention from a man, she shouldn't dress like that. Clown. The viral video was posted by the Lex Museum, but Twitter user Chris Evans would write, he had a complete meltdown because he gave a woman a compliment and didn't like her response. Goes on an angry tirade talking about, I'll put you in the back of my trunk and everybody will look at you on forensic files the next day. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen a viral video like this where a man reacts violently after a woman rejected their advances. Earlier this year, the New York Post reported a story on Alabama basketball player Darius Miles, who allegedly killed Jamea Harris after she wouldn't talk to him.
Now, I want to come in, Marcus. I want to add some context to this video, especially being the only woman on the panel today. So the woman in the video was actually recording. It was her friend that he was talking to. So the woman was just recording. That's not the woman that he was, wanting to talk to or wanting to holler at. It was her friend who was off camera. Here's what the caption says. She says, well, how some of my night went at Sailfest, all because he complimented a woman I was with and he didn't care for her response and told her if she didn't want attention of a man, don't dress like that. She literally had on a tank top tucked into jeans, not that that should even matter. She could have had on barely anything on, and we still didn't deserve to be told we look better in the back of his truck on the 7 p.m. news. Now, for me, my reaction is two-part, right? Because as a woman, I've definitely been in this situation. Gas stations, for me, are one of the top places I go, and you turn a man down, and it's like he keeps coming. You can tell him you have a boyfriend. You can tell him you're married. It doesn't matter. And then, if you turn him down, and it can be nice. I'm a very nice person, and, I try to keep a very subtle reaction, but I've gotten this reaction. It's very scary. Watching it, my heart rate is increased as I'm watching this. At the same time, it's kind of funny because it's like, it's crazy to think that this is real. It's crazy to think that people actually react and respond like this, but it does happen. In situations like this, I think when she was telling her friend, hey, don't respond, because the more you pour into it, the worse it's going to get. And she even talked about like the men being around her and not saying anything. That was a little disappointing, but when men did intervene, it seemed to escalate more and more. So, the situation is very scary. I always tell women, take self-defense classes. Make sure you have protection. Have people around you that you can trust and that you feel protected by, or that, if worse comes to worse, you two can defend one another, because unfortunately, this does happen. But I will say this, and I want to say this, and some people may get upset, but oh well with it. I will not use this as an excuse to downgrade my black men. I will not say that all black men act like this, because that's not true. I will not use this against men, because right now on social media, there seems to be a big, black men against black women. So I will not use this as fuel to the fire on what I'm seeing on social media. This is a incident that does happen with different races. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Mexican, whatever the case is. So this is not any fuel that I'm adding to the fire that I'm seeing on social media. It is very unfortunate and scary, but it does happen. So women, take self-defense classes, know how to protect yourself, because situations like this do happen. Spanky, let me bring you in. What are your thoughts?
I think that's a very sad situation. But I think
to attract the man that you want, you have to be in those realms. You can't go to a ghetto spot and expect a lawyer to holler at you. People have to learn how to accept no and to say no nicely. That's one thing when I first moved to LA, I noticed that women in LA turn you down in the nicest way that you don't want to like, okay, thanks, baby. You still like them in a sense. It's not like that everywhere. I think women, and not just black women, I think women in general have to learn how to say no. Like you don't have to be nasty. You don't have to be, and that's on both sides. That's on both sides. Like if a guy's approaching you, I always wonder what makes a guy do that. Like okay, she said no, just keep going. But some people just had a bad day, had a bad week, got a terrible life, and they can't hear no, and they want to press the issue. I never saw what people thought was going to come after that. Like, okay, if she already said no and you're still talking, what do you expect for her to say? No again, no twice, no 8 times? I don't know. But I think that people just got to start being more nicer. But here's to the women. Women have to understand that the world is worse. It's very bad now. To turn a guy down, you have to smile at him. You can't say, no, nigga, I don't want to put you and and keep walking. You can't offend people. Even if you're not with it, you still can't offend a person because you don't know what they're going to do. You can never underestimate what the next man will do. If he's embarrassed, it's going to make you feel embarrassed. That's just how the world is. It's like kids. Like men are turning to kids.
It's also just in community spaces, like the lady in the food spot. It's also just in the society in general. So like, it's one of them things where if we continue to tell women to do that emotional labor of controlling themselves while somebody else is wilding out, and we collectively don't intervene, then we're going to continue to see the violence. Like this person getting locked up because they had warrants. Like I'm an abolitionist. I don't want that for them, but I also do need them to stop in that situation. I need people to intervene. I need people to de-escalate. And so I can't focus on how a woman does or doesn't say no when the problem is somebody's violently attacking them literally in every phase of their life. Like not saying everybody's perfect, right? And not saying black women, can do no wrong. I'm just saying this is a consistent, ongoing, deadly problem, like literally leading cause of death. And so it's like in moments like this, we have opportunities to push the public conversation and hopefully get people to start understanding and doing a little bit more work on their end to actually understand these problems and be able to intervene in healthy ways, which could be literally physically standing in the space. It could be looking at the person who's being targeted and just having a conversation with them and taking them away from the situation. There's a lot of different ways, if you're serious about this, that you can do it. But if you aren't serious, then it turns into one of those things where we're going to have this conversation in circles for the rest of our lives unless we do something differently.